Not long ago, a member of my church got so mad at me that she left, telling me on the way out, "I am sick and tired of hearing you talk about racism and challenging my political views." My first thought was, if you're tired of hearing about racism, just imagine how tired people are of experiencing it. I also thought back to the most poignant time in American history that a similar statement was made. It was back in the early 1960s. Words spoken by Fannie Lou Hamer in Mississippi, the plantation worker who became a political activist because of all the terrible things she saw happening to her black friends and that she herself experienced. Unconscionable acts that she knew needed to be challenged and changed politically. You might recall her well-known words, "All my life I've been sick and tired. Now I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Hearing that quote made me go back and read her story. In particular, the terrifying account of her almost fatal beating at the hands of a white police officer who had arrested her for no reason. It was such a brutal attack that even reading it was painful. It made me sick. I wanted to turn my eyes away. I wanted to take a break from it all. But then I realized that as a white person, when I get tired of hearing about racial injustice or talking, reading, and thinking about it, when I find the challenge too great and the topic too unbearable, I can simply walk away. People of color cannot. They don't have that luxury. It's a reality they face every day. And that is why we, my white brothers and sisters, cannot remain neutral in this battle, cannot be so timid or cowardly that we do not take sides in this holy struggle against injustice and inequality. My faith and my convictions demand that we do. As Martin Luther King Jr. wrote to those white clergymen in his letter from Birmingham jail, we shouldn't be afraid of tension. For there's a type of constructive tension that's necessary for growth. King admonished them that we must create a kind of tension in society that will help people rise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood. The biggest stumbling block to real change and progress, King told these religious leaders, is the white moderate who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, rather than a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. King wrote that these Christian leaders were more cautious than they were courageous, and reminded them that the church at one time was not merely a thermometer that recorded the ideas and principles of popular opinion, it was a thermostat that transformed society. But things are different now, King told them. The contemporary church is too often a weak, ineffectual voice with an uncertain sound, even an arch defender of the status quo. And if today's church does not recapture the sacrificial spirit of the early church, King said, it will lose its authenticity, forfeit the loyalty of millions, and be dismissed as an irrelevant social club with no meaning for the 20th century. The more things do not change, the more they stay the same. Such strong words, but not nearly as strong as those in the Bible from the Hebrew prophets who comforted the afflicted and afflicted the comfortable, saying, "Woe to you who participate in oppression and injustice in any way," all the way to the book of Revelation, when church folk were told, "Because you're so lukewarm, God wants to spit you out of his mouth." St. John the Divine challenged those believers' spiritual bankruptcy and their blindness to human suffering. It's almost offensive language the biblical writers use. But there it is, in the Bible, written for our edification and our transformation. Jesus never said, "Take up your blanket and follow me." He said, "Take up your cross and follow me." Following Jesus can be heavy, difficult, demanding, challenging, and costly. Following Jesus can change everything, starting with ourselves, our politics, theology, philosophy, beliefs, opinions, lifestyles, and values. I admit that thinking about such things and doing the right thing sometimes makes me very uncomfortable. Based on what I know about God's priorities, being uncomfortable is probably a good thing.